This is an LED floor lamp. Its MSRP is $60, but I've seen a $20 off coupon, so it looks like kind of the price is about $40. I was provided this for free to review, so they haven't paid me for my review and my opinions remain my own. Alright, so in the box we have a little notice here. Control requires 2 AAA batteries, pairings not required to use. Manual, and then a whole bunch of stand-up rods here that you have to put together, as well as a base, a remote control. The remote control appears to have a magnet in it as it's sticking to the base. Looks like it also would stick to the our uprights here. And it includes a power supply. So this power supply output is 24 volts, 1.5 amps. And then here is the actual light itself. So that's not actually the base, that's the top lamp part. Presumably the base is in here. There we go. Alright, so here is the base. It's kind of your standard heavy steel base with the screw in there. Alright, to make this thing fit together, you have to screw each of these sections here. The second section here that I'm holding has the power switches in it. And this wire seems to be kind of not wanting to go all the way in there, so I'm trying to twist it backwards to get it in. Alright, now we're going to screw it on. Now this guy spins freely, so I'm not worried about that twisting the wire, as does the next couple of guys here, it looks like. Alright, so it's a relatively tall lamp. Put this on the floor. And they say align before screwing arm. So I'm going to turn it opposite and then forward. And I believe I have that lined up and threaded. It feels like it's threading nicely. Okay, so there's the lamp. Alright, so the remote feels very lightweight. The buttons are basically just cutouts of part of the body here. On off, some type of night mode, CCT plus and minus, and then something else that's plus and minus. There's probably color temperature and brightness. It does require 2 AAA batteries, which are not provided, so you'll have to have 2 AAA batteries to use the remote. Alright, so with the lamp turned off, the power supply draws 0 watts, so there's basically no parasitic load. At full brightness in the color temperature, the cool color temperature, it's taking 34 watts. This is a rated at 36 watt lamp, so that's pretty close to the ratings there. Now if I mix and match, it goes down to as low as 30, and then as I make it go to the warm side, it goes back up to about 33, 34 watts. So I think, 30 to 34 watts, depending on color temperature at the maximum brightness. Now as I move the brightness down, the watt draw starts to go down here. And at the lowest brightness level, it gets as low as 3.5 watts for low brightness. Alright, I'm 6 feet tall, so this light is almost 6 feet tall. The remote control, as far as I can tell, I think it's a radio frequency remote control. I can't find any infrared emitters or receivers on this guy, and it seems to work whichever way I point it. So this is the lowest setting here. You hit the plus sign, you can get all the way up to the brightest setting there. And this is also the warmest color temperature. So if I flip it over, I can dial through all the way to the coolest color temperature. And this guy, you could point it kind of at a wall, so you can go up to 180 degrees that way, twist it around. So you could use this almost like a ring light. It doesn't go down at all, but it's really designed to be kind of pointed up, bounce off the ceiling to provide light that way. So you can angle it a bit into the room or back, and it rotates here this way. It'll rotate, so you can take that angle around. But this is really, projecting light up into the ceiling of your room. So there's one feature or bug that I dislike if you lose power a lot. So let's say we have this guy turned off. I unplug it like we had a power failure. So the power's gone out overnight, and then 3 a.m. in the morning, the power comes back on. When that happens, this light turns on. So if you're in an area that gets lots of power outages and you don't want this light turning on in the middle of the night when the power gets restored, that would be an issue. Let me try setting it to the highest brightness here. So I have it at the highest brightness. I've turned it off. We remove power. I'm going to plug it back in. And yeah, it comes back to the brightness mode it was set to when it lost power, even if it was turned off when it lost power. That's not a feature I think I'd like. I could see in some instances, you want to know when the power came back on, but if it's in your bedroom, that could be annoying in the middle of the night. All right, my remote is no longer controlling the light. I think I might have unpaired it by unplugging and plugging the light 3 times, which is their way of resetting and pairing things. So now I'm going to have to follow their notice of, hey, if your remote doesn't work, it should be paired from the factory, but if it doesn't work, here's what you do. Unplug the lamp power cord 3 times in a row and reconnect it. The floor lamp will flash quickly, and then long press the power button of the remote for 3 seconds within 1 minute until the lights flash quickly. So I'm going to give that a shot. Here goes my unplug and plug. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Okay, it's flashing. I'm going to push and hold this guy for 3 seconds. And it flashed, and now it's paired again. So that's the pairing procedure. So if I have this guy highest power, cool color temperature, I hit night mode, it just immediately goes to that. I don't know if this will turn off after a certain amount of time. The manual just says it's night mode, so it definitely dims it, makes it low color. All right, there's 3 buttons on the lamp itself. They're very touchy, so it might be a capacitive touch sensing as opposed to an actual button. Yeah, it does appear to be capacitive touch sensing. So power on, power off. This guy here will cycle through the color temperature, so it goes all the way to warm. And then I'm going to push and hold again. Not sure how to get it to cool. Let's see this one here. That's going dim. Let's see if I can make it bright by holding. Okay, you hold it again, it goes bright. Let's try color temperature. I'm going to push and hold color temperature. Oh, there it is, cool. So you can control everything from the lamp here, although they don't have a night mode button. So this really isn't a reading light, it's an area light. We have a room that's relatively dark. It has one light in the center, and so that's the light in the center. And this guy here, when we put it, well, now my remote's not working again. There we go. So the remote, I've had trouble making it work on the first push. But you can see that, when you turn on this light, it really lights up at least that half of the room over there. And this is in the daytime with the drapes drawn, so there is a little bit of natural light coming into the room. And this enhances that quite a bit. So the remote just sometimes doesn't work. A lot of the time it works great. That time I pushed the button, nothing happened. Push it again, it turned off just fine. Push it again, it turns on. So a quick touch might be too quick. A longer touch, well, the second longer touch didn't work. third long touch did. So it's touchy. It sometimes works, it sometimes doesn't. So I'm pushing and holding and the brightness is going down, so that seems to be working. So push and hold seems to work okay. And then on the color temperature, that's changing color temperature. Push and hold, it'll scroll through. Off button. So, you know, works most of the time. Every so often, though, it doesn't. So I would like night mode when you push it to automatically turn it on into night mode, but that doesn't work. You have to have it on and then you push it to go to night mode. Alright, so aesthetically, it's fine. You kind of have an oil rub bronze metal with a plastic top. The silver bit here, in my mind, jarringly glares against the oil rub bronze finish on this particular unit. So I think that silver, I would have preferred it to be a darker color. Other than that, you know, it's fine. It's a stick, it sticks up, you have a thing at the top. So at this price point, it provides light. It does a decent job. The remote being touchy, I don't like. The fact that if you lose power and then the power comes back on, it'll automatically turn on, I don't like that either. So I don't necessarily recommend this because of the touchy remote and that power recovery behavior. If you don't mind those features, if you're don't care if the remote doesn't work every single time, if you're planning on only using the buttons on the controller, and you're going to be out in the living room or something where you want the light to come on if the power comes back on, that's fine. That being said, it works well enough to light up this room, and my room needs some light, so I'm probably going to keep using it until I find a better option.